This is sort of also a tutorial for me as much as I'm making this for you, because I have never done anything like this before. Past two cover songs that I made, I did it all in FL Studio. I do have some basic knowledge of music. Like, I know how tempo works, I know how to come up with tunes, harmonics, chords, without going out of key. But trust me when I say that I have no idea what I'm doing. Even until recently, I didn't know that you need a DAW. Digital Audio Workstation. I just call it music software. To compose music digitally on a PC. But turns out, it's not that complicated. The first time you load up FL Studio, I won't lie, it's scary. The first time I opened up FL Studio, I shit my pants. I almost gave up. Yet here I am to tell you that all you need to know to make music in FL Studio is just 4 tools, and you will be on your way to make your own music. Now that I have wasted enough of your time with that hook, let's get right into it. For the sake of clarity, I'm going to go to File, New Template, Empty. The 4 tools that I'm talking about is right up here in FL Studio: the channel rack, piano roll, playlist, and the mixer. First up is channel rack, which is a window right here. This is where you will select the instruments which will play your song. You can select the instrument by clicking this little button in the channel rack and selecting the instrument, or you can click on any of the instruments that you see here. Just drag and drop them in the channel rack. You can also replace an existing instrument by dragging and dropping the new instrument on top of the old one. So that's how you load up the instrument plugins, otherwise known as VSTs in FL Studio. Now that we have our instrument selected, we can start composing our music in the piano roll. You can bring up the piano roll by clicking on the dark rectangle next to the instruments. The key on the piano roll will mimic the keys on your MIDI keyboard. Or if you're broke like me, you can click this button up here and you can press the keys on your keyboard to play them as piano keys. However, doing so will disable the keyboard shortcuts, so I wouldn't recommend this method. Left clicking anywhere on the piano roll will place that particular note on that particular timestamp in the piano roll. Pressing C on the keyboard will load up the chopper tool, which will allow you to chop your notes. Just left click and drag to chop your notes. However, right clicking and dragging will delete the shorter part of the note. Also, if you want to delete a note, all you need to do is right click and just drag across the notes that you want to delete, and it'll just delete your notes. Now, if you hover to the edge of the note, the cursor will turn into this double arrow and you'll be able to click and drag the length of the note. You can also hold down Alt key plus click and drag to adjust beyond the confines of these bars. Hold down the control button and scroll to expand or compress the piano roll horizontally. And you can hover over this little top right spot on the piano roll and scroll to make the same adjustment, but this time vertically. Now that we know how to navigate around the piano roll, let's compose a beat. I'll start with something real simple. I'll just take a kick drum. Yeah, that kick works. I'm going to take that kick note, drop it there, just replace the sampler, and if I click on this rectangle, it will open up the piano roll. That's good. Now I'm going to add some snare onto it. Let me find a good snare. That sounds good. I'm just going to drop it here in the channel rack, and I'm going to play this pattern. Click on the playlist of the snare. Now I'm going to plan where the snare will fall, and I feel if it falls, no. That's nice. By the way, you can mute or unmute your instrument by clicking on this little button here. And the 2 knobs that you see here, this one is the pan node. You'll be able to pan it so that you'll be able to hear it only in the left or right side of your speaker. So while I'm playing this, if I move it to the left, you hear it only in the left, and when I move it to the right, you hear it only to the right. So that's the pan button, and you just reset it to be in the center. And this is the volume key. If I increase the volume, that increases the volume of our drums, and if I reduce it, That reduces the volume of the instrument. And I'm just going to just reset it again and leave it there. It's always best to stay at the basic volume levels until we move on to the much later stage of composing, where we can actually see the levels of various instruments. And we have the snares which are going, the kick and the snare is going to tup, 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 tup. Now we need some hi-hats which will make you go tss, 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 tss. So for that, I'm going to look for a good hi-hat. From here, I think this works good. Just drag it, drop it there, open that piano roll, again play the beat, it's playing. So I want to go tss, 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 tss. So for that, I'm going to place the note here. That's too short. How about here? See how easy that is? And that's it, we have a basic beat. That's nice, but it still needs a little something. A bass line to go along with it. So I'm gonna go to bass. I'm going to pull acoustic and drop it here. And that's good, but I wanted to go, yeah, like that. So talk, 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 talk. Yeah. Gets things rolling. Now let's see how we can use this to build our song further. And for that, we'll be moving on to our third tool, the playlist. Let me close out of the piano roll, and here you can see our playlist, which is currently empty. And for some reason, if you're not able to see this window, just click this little icon on top and your playlist will appear. And by the way, all these windows are customizable. You can play around with the size by clicking and dragging their corners and customize this whole workspace to your liking. And while you're doing that, if you feel you messed up a lot, just go to View, Arrange Windows, Realign, or just hit the shortcut that you see here, Ctrl-Shift-H, and it will bring them all up so you can see all your windows. Alright, so we've been building our beat in the channel rack, and meanwhile you can see that the piano roll has something called pattern here for us. A pattern in the playlist is where it takes everything that you've made so far in the channel rack and places it all together in one pattern, which you can again click and drag it onto your playlist. The playlist is like, think of it as a canvas on which you'll be painting your song using the patterns that you have created. Now that I have dragged the pattern on the playlist, I can use this paint tool and just paint all my playlist with it. Now if I press play button, which is again the space key, and it plays the pattern over and over again for as long as I have painted it on the playlist. But here's the cool thing about patterns. If you right click on the pattern and select split by channel, you can see that it splits all our instruments on individual patterns. And with that, we can make our song a bit more interesting. So I'll start the bass, slap that snare on it, the hi-hats for the bass. But I can also try this. I'll just go into our playlist. At this last hi-hat which is here, I'll try to switch this up a bit. Instead of it going tss, 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 at the last moment it can go tss, tss. I'm not able to get that, but let me just show you what I'm trying to do. So at this part here, right? So if I press play, so here I'm just going to hover over the pattern. And you can see that here also it turns into a double arrow like how we've seen in the piano roll. You can edit it in the same way. I'll just cut this off up till here and then. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to one more time, just one more time. Now let's refine it a bit. Give it a bit of class. Now let's go up here, click on this plus button to create a new pattern, and I'm going to call this tune. You can give whatever name you want, whatever floats your boat. Hit enter, and that will create a new empty pattern called tune for us. If you click on this pattern, you can see that it's blank. You don't see any notes on the channel rack. It lacks the notes and the piano icon from the other patterns. Now I'm going to load up grand piano and compose a little tone to go along with our beat. That's nice, I can work with that. Now, this is the part I don't know exactly how to tell you. When I'm thinking of a tune, I can plan it in my mind. I know that if I go, then if I go, now I know that I cannot go, because that is going to sound off key. I automatically know that. So if I go like, that sounds about right. That sounds like it's still in the key. I can just figure this out by myself. I really don't know how I do this. It's just something that I can do ever since I can remember. But maybe I will be able to figure this out in the future to exactly tell you how to plan and compose notes without going out of key. But that's a topic for another day. By the way, at any given time, you can switch between pattern and song by selecting it over here. If you have the pattern selected, it will play only the pattern when you press the space key. And if you have the song selected, it will play the entire it will play the entire song that you built so far on the playlist. And you can switch this whenever you want, depending on what you wish to listen. So we have our tune, but now right off the bat, you can say that there is no sync between the tune and the bass line. So let's fix that. Now pay attention, because this handy little trick will make your production life a bit easier. I'm going to click on the acoustic pattern, then select it here by clicking on the small rectangle. Then I'm going to press Ctrl C, copy command. Then I'm going to select the tune pattern. Then once again, select the small rectangle for our acoustic channel, and this time I'm going to press the paste command, Ctrl+V, and just like that, we have our notes copied from one pattern to another. And you can do this however you want. You can do this within the same pattern, from one pattern to another, between one instrument to another, however you feel like it. Now that I have the bass notes copied to our new pattern, I'm going to find the right notes where these bass notes should sit so that they complement our tune. And now that we also have a different set of bass notes, which we derived from the original bass notes, which are now playing to the tune of a piano, now we can make it even better. Let's add some strings to go along with the piano. And now we have this. Heavenly. Alright, talking about improving the piano, I feel it needs to dominate its space in the song. Right now, the beats are punchy, but the piano is melancholic. While that contrast is good, we can't let the overall energy of our song be so low. I mean, depending on the song, it does work in some cases, but in our case, we gotta uplift the mood a bit. So I'm going to add another instrument, and I know just the perfect thing. We'll head over to Instruments, grab the Flex. This is one of my favorite plugins. Arcsum, Cityscape, and drop that sucker on our channel rack. Create a new pattern, and I just wanted to play the same notes as it's playing in the piano. So as we already know, we will go to tune pattern, copy the notes, come to the flex pattern, select flex in channel rack, and paste them here. Now Did you see that? With just eight instruments, and we already have a banger for ourselves. How cool is that? So far we've only seen how to navigate the channel rack, the piano roll, and the playlist. And with this knowledge alone, you can be on your way to make your own beats and tunes. Just play around with various instruments, try different instruments, try adding more and more instruments, layer them on each other, and see what works. And that is it. Congratulations! You are now a music producer, just like me. But so far, it's like we've only made the cake. Now our cake needs some icing, a little cherry on top. And that brings us to our fourth and final tool that we need to know to make beats in FL Studio, the mixer. It's in the name, it's a mixer. It's going to bring our song together, and not just that, it can also help us further improve our song. All you gotta do is head over to the channel rack and click and drag to select these boxes, then hit Ctrl+L, and that will load all the instruments from channel rack into the mixer. Now the most prominent thing that you will see here are these vertical sliders, which you can use to adjust the volume levels of your instruments. And if you select a particular mixer and head over to this panel on the right, you can click here, and that will give you a list of filters and effects that you can add on your instruments. You can also do stuff like delay, reverb, EQ, and much more here in the mixer, but it's a little more complicated than just slapping them onto your instruments. Just trust me when I say that these things are a topic of their own and they deserve their own video, which I will be making soon. For now, I think I'll just adjust the levels of our snare and the hard bass a bit, and that'll be it. Now all we are going to do is head back to our playlist, move our patterns around a little bit, maybe create some new ones using everything that we've learned so far. But before we listen to it, let me just remind you that we have barely scratched the surface of FL Studio. There's automations, filters, effects, EQ, noise gates, and I haven't even mentioned vocal recording so far. I'll be discussing all that in my future videos, so in case you haven't done it yet, do hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next video.